Hey everybody, Tom here with you. And today we are talking with Jade Turner. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Not bad weather. My little girl's sick, so she's making everyone else sick.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, but it's the story of kids and everything. So
Yep, exactly. I have one as well. He's 4.
this is mine's 7, so this is her first time actually getting sick too. So it's all over the
Oh,
place.
poor baby.
hmm So we're here today to talk to you a bit about your musical journey, your new release of Wait, which is the single with Crystal Shawanda.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you can hear me properly, but you're cutting out quite a bit. I think you said we're talking about my new single called Dead Weight.
Yes, hold on, let me fix it here. All right, can you hear me now?
I can, yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of wondering if it's like a Wi-Fi thing.
Well, my microphone system sometimes acts up on me, so I just
Okay.
I can ditch this now, and I got a headphone setup. So, but yes.
Sounds good.
Anyways, we were talking. We're going to be talking about Dead Weight, which is your single with Crystal, and a little bit more about you and your music.
Yeah, awesome.
So for those who are new, though, can you give a little intro about yourself and kind of what you bring to the table?
Yeah, so Tanse, my name is Jade Turner. I'm from the Sapastic Cree Nation, which is Grand Rapids in English. It's just like a little fishing town about 4 hours north of Winnipeg, Manitoba. And yeah, I grew up all over different communities in Manitoba. I moved quite a bit when I was young and have been doing music for quite a while now. And yeah, we wrote I wrote this song last year with my good friend Crystal Shawanda. And oh, I absolutely love this song. Like I love all my songs are my babies, you know what I mean? But like for some reason this song just resonates in a different way, if that makes any sense. And the powerful meaning behind it and everything. It just like, oh, it just sits in a really good place in my heart.
Hmm
Pulls on my heartstrings, this one.
for sure. And how did you get into music? Like your life, were your parents musical, or did you pick up that first album and kind of go, wow?
I've kind of been singing since I don't remember a time that I wasn't singing. Like I've always just loved music. Um, I think it has something to do with my ADHD and I just like hyper fixate on it. And like for me, like I said, I grew up moving a lot, so I was also bullied a lot. And that was my way of releasing those feelings, I guess. I would just sing them out. Like I would just sing for hours. I just absolutely love singing. So I've always been um that way for as long as I can remember. And then I started writing probably in grade 4, I want to say. Like I said, I was bullied, and one time specifically, I went instead of going to school, I made my way. It's such a strange story to tell, but I skipped school at that young age because I'd rather not be there. And I went and sat in the middle of the bush in the woods in the middle of winter and I wrote songs all day.
Oh wow.
I did that for a week before the school phoned and told on me.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's always been a part of my life. Like that's like my safe haven. Music is my everything.
hmm And now that you've been into music a little bit, what's your process like when you're putting together a track like Deadweight, for instance?
I don't really know because like I've always written on my own up until this last year and a half. I started doing co-writes with people. And so for me, I think it's just making sure that I feel the lyrics, and making sure I could how figuring out how I can sing them. Like I said, I was a really strange writer. Like I used to write on my own, but I don't play any instruments. So I was a backwards writer, is what they called it.
hmm
Most people like will do it all at once or have the music and then try to get the lyrics to it. But I'm opposite where I just sit there and I sing out all the song and then I would take it to my producer, who's Murray Pulver, and I would just sing him the song, and then we would figure out the music to go around it. So it's a little bit of a strange process, I think. But with this co-write specifically, we had a Zoom. It was COVID still, I think. So we were on Zoom, and she brought up a really tough story that we kind of related to each other in the sense that, like, we get a lot of weird comments, as artists in general. We get a lot of weird comments and stuff online, and me and Crystal shared one where we get a lot of comments on our weight for some reason. And so we were like, well, how can we turn that, into something? So she said, well, I have this lyric, like, dead weight. I want to use the word dead weight. Now she's like, just let that go and, like, stop carrying it around with you. And I love that. And we just rolled with it, and we came up with this song. And it's just, yeah, like, I absolutely love this song.
Yeah, I got to listen to it beforehand. I definitely like the sound behind it for sure.
Thank you.
So how do you think your music has evolved from going back to 2020 with Highway Town until now with the new releases?
I think I was a lot younger then, so I was a little bit more timid on my writing and, like, what I wanted to say. I wasn't quite sure what people wanted to hear from me as well. And also, like, just being more comfortable with myself as a writer. Like, so many, I'm able to fully express myself, I think now. I'm in such a comfortable place in my life where I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna sing what I feel like needs to be sung today, or write what needs to be written, and not worry too much about if radio will play it, and worry about, well, what can I do to help people with my music? Because I was sitting there thinking, like, I could sit here and write a whole bunch of radio songs about whatever XYZ, but at the end of the day, are those gonna stick with people? And my goal has always been to help. I don't know why, but since I was young, it's always been like, oh, I'm going to be a singer so that, I could represent my Indigenous community, or I could help somebody that's going through something. And I don't know why I've always been that way. I think I'm gonna blame Faith Hill. She had an album that I used to sing, and it's so funny because I listen to it now and I'm like, I used to sing this when I was a kid, and it was all, like, so sad and, like,
Mm-hmm.
and, like, she's writing about really hard things. And so for me, like, I think that's where that came from, is just like, well, I want to be, like, a little bit like Faith Hill, but at the same time still write some fun things too. So I think I've evolved that way in just being more comfortable with myself.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's such thing of putting too much of yourself into your music?
I don't know. I'm okay with it. I think maybe for some people it's too much, but like I said, I'm comfortable with myself enough to be like, you know what, this is what I want. This is what I want people to know or hear from me today. And that's going to be okay. Whether if somebody doesn't like it, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
And being an Indigenous person, there's a lot of storytelling is a huge component. So it's, how important is it for you to try to wove in Indigenous topics into your music too?
I don't think that I mean to do it. I just think that because it's my life, it's gonna come out. I think if I'm gonna write from a genuine place, it's gonna be my story. And so for me, my music, like, every single song, I could have a relation to my Indigenous culture because it's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily, like, with my song, my last single was called Stay Wild Child. And you would have never known that was, like, speaking from an Indigenous perspective, but, like, there's little things that I put in there that it's like, that's actually really powerful. Like, let your hair blow in the wind. Like, that one lyric is so, it's minimal, but it's also, like, there was a time that we couldn't grow our hair. You know what I mean? So for me, that's a powerful lyric. But for people that are at home, it's a lighthearted lyric. You know what I mean? Until they speak to me and they're like, what does that mean? What does the song mean to you? And I think that's why that's my way of putting my culture or my Indigenous background into my music that way, just like little things here and there.
Well, and it's nice because it speaks a little bit more of who you are as a person too.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the Indigenous music culture right now? It's becoming a lot more out there.
It's definitely become a lot more public. I think we've
Hmm.
always had very talented people in our Indigenous communities. Like I grew up going to talent shows, and there was like, how do these people sound so good, like they were so talented. And but because we didn't have socials and stuff like that, it was hard to find those things, right? So I think now with I've noticed a big jump since TikTok, actually, like
Yeah.
the huge jump since TikTok came, because it's like, well, now everybody has access to these great artists and great people and funny Indigenous people as well. Like there's like a lot of different content out there that actually shows who we are as people, rather than just what the media or whoever is going to help us, like, give us a stage what they want us to say. You know what I mean? Like this is like, now we have our own platform where we could just be ourselves and say what we want to say, or show you what we want to show you. So I think that plays a huge part, and I absolutely love that. I love that there's more of us coming up, and having a chance to reach you guys, to reach everybody else when when they're sitting on the res.
Hmm.
I think that's a big difference.
Is there something that you could say for someone on the outside, a good way for them to support more, short of just music?
Um, like supporting like Indigenous artists, or like Indigenous people in general.
Well, I mean, let's stick with artists because we're looking more at like music and everything right now.
Yeah, I think just like sharing our stuff, like just like every other artist, like we need people to like and share and comment on our content that we put out there, and being like, hey, did you hear this artist? They're so good. Like word of mouth always helps too. And then for the people in the Indigenous or in the music industry, I think representation matters, and putting us on their stages is a huge benefit for the Indigenous community to, for us to see each other in these spaces. It just like means that we can, the young ones can do that too, and it just helps so much.
Hmm. What do you think it takes to stand out above someone else? There's 10,000 people out there making songs daily. It seems like there's always
I
something.
Yeah, I think just being genuine to who you are, because nobody else can be who you are. And that's the thing, right? Like I can only write, like I said, I can only write my own story. So I think standing out for me is going to be my own story, because I'm the one that lived it. Nobody else has lived it. And I'm proud of my story and where I come from, the good and the bad. And so I think that's going to be like a huge thing. And then um maybe confidence. I think confidence is a huge thing.
Mm.
I don't really know how or what I'm doing differently than everybody else to stand out, besides just being myself and just trying to make really good music.
Yeah, for sure. And your music scene at home is there any interesting people that should be paid more attention to right now that are coming up doing good things?
Oh, there's so many people. Especially, I don't know what is up with Winnipeg, like specifically, but there's so many good artists from Winnipeg. It's just crazy.
Hmm.
Um, like I feel like I'm trying to catch up to them because there's just so many good ones.
Yeah, I've seen
Uh,
I've seen a few names for sure.
yeah. There's my friends like in the country community, obviously Donna Merrow and Desiree Dorian are doing great things in the Indigenous community. Isla Barker is another one, Leonard Sumner is another one. Like there's so many. I could go on and on and on and on and on, to be honest. And like I think finding the Indigenous musicians in your area and then helping promote them that way is like awesome, because then you get to build those bridges between the communities, right?
Hmm.
And it's so funny because we all kind of know each other from like all over Canada, because like there's a lot of us, but we're also very small, and we all like support each other, and I love that.
Yeah, it's like a big family, but a close group type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually had the pleasure of talking to most of those people you mentioned. Actually, I think Desiree was my most recent one too. So
Yeah, she's great. That's one of my really good friends in the music industry. And it's good to have people like that. Like I said, like representation matters. So when I first started, there was only a few Indigenous artists like in the Manitoba country scene, right? There's still only a few of us. But I feel like now that there's like that we're more represented and like we're putting out more music and everything like that. There's other people that are coming that are more comfortable with themselves now, and they're like, okay, we can exist here, and it's going to be safe because we have these other allies there.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's something that you do outside of music to keep yourself grounded and centered and kind of on a level path?
Well, I work full time. I am also a mother. And then I also go to ceremonies. I'm a sun dancer. I finished my sun dancing. So like normally I would go to ceremonies, every weekend or whatever, but I haven't been lately. Lately I've been grounding at home and just kind of being in my own space and clearing clearing out stuff that I don't need,
Mm-hmm.
clearing all the energies and making it just a nice comfortable space for myself. And yeah, I take personal time very seriously these days, because I am so busy. So spending time with my son is really grounding for me, and I take him up north to my reserve quite a bit, or I try to,
Yeah.
but you know it's home, and it just makes me, as soon as I get home, I'm just like, I just feel better. I can't explain it. It just feels good to be there.
Yeah, no, I can picture that. There's home is where the heart is, they say.
Yeah, for sure.
What's something that you hope people take away from your music?
I hope that people find something in there that can help them. Like I said earlier, I don't know why, but I just feel like it's kind of the way that I'm gonna be, sharing music and stuff is all gonna be so that I could help somebody somewhere. And I don't know why, but like that's just how I feel. So I think like a song like Dead Weight, I hopefully it empowers them to feel that they could just let go of, negative negative words or comments or whatever it is that's coming at you. Like learn to let that go and just like be like, you know what? If they want to be like that, let them carry that. I'm not going to carry it with me though. I think that's so important in a world of social media.
Mhm.
Um, it's so easy to sit there and you know, make it. I don't know why it's easy, but like for me, it's not. I would never do that. But I feel like you go on the internet and there's so many, negative comments, and it's just like, why? Like, why? I'm not gonna sit there and carry that with me though, anywhere I go. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just gonna acknowledge it and be like, okay, you want to be that way, then you can live that way, but I'm not going to carry it with me from here on, and block, see you later.
Mhm. I think it's really easy because people can't be held accountable for what they say. Like there's no way to put them in check because you wouldn't say that
Yeah,
to someone's face that often.
yeah, exactly. It's a strange, but social media is a strange but beautiful place.
Yeah, it has its pros and cons for sure.
Yeah.
Now I do like to ask a few questions to everyone I interview, especially for the first time I get to meet you and gives me a little bit more insight. And I think the first one, probably the most interesting, is what's one thing you think should be asked more in an interview that's not asked enough?
How are you? Maybe that.
Okay.
Just simply ask, how are you doing? Because there's a lot of things going on since COVID. I think everybody just needs to like, yeah,
No, that's
account
a
it.
good one. And you're not the first person I've actually heard that from. And it's nice to know that people are still checking in on people periodically, kind of seeing what's going on out there.
Yeah, for sure. I check in on my friends all the time. I love checking in on people.
Hmm. Yeah, I have my few core friends, and we pop a message to each other once a week or something like that just to see what's going on.
Nice.
Hmm. Now, what's one thing that's on your go-to playlist people wouldn't expect you're listening to?
I listen to I listen to funny things all the time. I've been listening to a lot of Patty Griffin and Brandy Carlisle lately. I don't know why I haven't figured, but didn't find Patty until like this last year. Like, what the heck is wrong with me? Like, where have I been living under a rock? It's just
Hmm.
so fun because it's like, okay, well, maybe it's because it resonates with me now or something. I don't know. Maybe I was just too young before, but I absolutely love them. But then I also really like the TikTok sounds because it's just so funny. That stupid margarita song, I can't get it out of my head.
Yeah, my wife has some of those all the time, it seems like.
Such a bad song, but it's so funny. I just laughed when I heard it. I like songs that make me laugh like that. It's so funny.
Hmm.
So I listen to random stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, those, I mean, those are always fun. I'm not a big TikTok user myself. I try to do stuff with hidden beats, but I don't know how to put that into my day. Like I don't know how to do that to make it work for me really.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. It can be a little bit intimidating. I just do stupid stuff on there now. It's just
Hmm.
like which when TikTok first came out, or when I first got onto TikTok, it was nobody was on there yet. It was so funny. I went on there because my niece was on there, and I was like, maybe I should see what this is to make sure that they're okay or whatever, and make sure
Hmm.
safe profile or space. And I just started making the stupidest videos and just laughing. And then that was like my 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 humor during COVID. It just like helped so much, you know,
Yeah.
get those times and just like connect with people when I was just sitting in my house with my son all the time. It was really nice to have that actually.
Yeah, my wife will sit there and she'll send me TikToks periodically, just goofy things, and then I wonder where she even possibly could have found something like that sometimes. It's so crazy to all of a sudden you're like, wow, where did that even come from?
Yeah.
It's fun though. Like I get a laugh out of it too. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
mhm.
good place to laugh for sure.
Yeah. Is there some advice that you might give to maybe young Indigenous artists trying to come up in this musical world?
Advice, just be yourself. Be confident in who you are, and know that you belong there. There's a reason why, there's always a reason why we're in these spaces. No matter what, like there's always a reason, and to remember that, I think.
Hmm. No, I think that's pretty powerful too, because there's a reason you're doing something and there's a reason someone's going to like you. So if you're genuine, I think it strikes a little bit more to someone.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm. My last question, and I think this is probably the one I leave to the end because it's my favorite and the most important, is why do you keep pursuing music? What motivates you to keep going?
It's my it's my safe place. I don't think there'll be a time in my life where I won't make music. Writing songs is my absolute favorite, and then singing, like whether it's just to my son or whatever. Music is a beautiful thing, and it speaks to everybody. So I don't think there's ever going to be a time in my life where I'm not going to be doing music, because it's just such a it can make you happy, it can make you sad, it can, like, it helps you in so many different ways, and it's just so universal. I love it.
Hmm. Yeah, music is its own voice, I think. It does a lot of things for a lot of people.
For sure.
Hmm. Well, that's all I have written down here. Is there any kind of final words of wisdom you might like to leave to listeners new and old?
Stay deadly.
There we go.
Thank you from the Indigenous community.
Hmm.
We like to say that to each other all the time. Stay deadly.
Yeah, I'm Indigenous on my dad's side in Tuscarora.
Do you guys say that too?
Sometimes, yeah.
Holy, that's deadly.
Mhm.
It's funny.
One of the things I've been trying to do, hopefully in this next week, I'm actually releasing a clothing line, and then sales will be going to support Indigenous communities and charities and things like that.
Oh, amazing. Congratulations.
This is actually one of the hats here.
I was
I
looking at really like that. Teal is
yeah.
my favorite color.
Hmm. Nice.
So I'll probably order it from you.
Well, I'll send you a link so you can at least share it for me and get some more views out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm. Well, like I said, that's all I have, and it was a pleasure getting to meet you, get to learn a little bit more about you, and where can people find you on social media?
I'm on Instagram and TikTok the most. So Jade Turner Music on each. Those are my favorite places to be.
Okay. I'll make
Yeah.
sure to try to link them in the description so people can
Awesome.
get there easy.
Thank you so much.
No problem. You enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm hoping we're gonna get to have another conversation at some point. It's always nice to catch up with people and see what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. Nice to meet you.
You too. All right. Bye now.
Bye.